Just like that, electricity doesn't work anymore. You don't have any lights on in your house. Your car doesn't start. Your TV doesn't work. Nothing with electricity works anymore. But on top of that, the sky is now black. You can't see the stars, the sun, the moon. Everything is just dark. That's what we're going to be talking about today in this video about the role-playing game The Dark. It's not a post-apocalyptic game. It's the apocalypse. So let's go ahead and take a look at the PDF, which is available on Drive to RPG. It's pay what you want. So if you like what you see and you pick it up, send a couple dollars to the creator Zero Theory. And here we go. As you can see here, obviously a very dark cover. We've got some monsters. Oh yeah, there's monsters. So on top of everything else that's going on, you've got a monster element to it. And of course that wouldn't be a horror role-playing game probably without it. So let's take a look here. It's a horror survival game. And here is your table of contents. And as you can see, a lot of the book is going to be on the rules for the game. And then the influences, the Mist, Kingdom Death Monster, Silent Hill, Event Horizon, 10 Candles, and Berserk. And you can see here we've got some roaches. One of the things that's happened is that roaches are everywhere, and they now have acidic saliva, and they can just chew through stuff. That may take a little bit of time with some like tin cans and stuff, but they've been eating all the food, and they're everywhere, even on top of you when you try to sleep. So on June 6th at 10:06 a.m., that's when it happened. Lights went out, the sky went black, people went crazy, they started killing each other, started killing themselves. Not everybody, you've survived, and the world is now a dark, apocalyptic place. Some animals have gone crazy, they've started becoming meat-eating terrors, and you're trying to survive in this world. So I like this, The Dark, World at a Glance. It's freaking dark, so it tells you about that. No more electricity. It has to be stuff like glow sticks or a fire. The roaches are everywhere, and they're hungry. They're vicious. They've got that saliva. It just helps them chew through material to get their food sources. Sleeping. Everyone is plagued with nightmares, and the roaches are always biting. So being asleep is a challenge. Every area's got a darkness level. It lets you know how supernatural it currently is. And what it calls a game master, dungeon master, they call the conductor. And then you've got squirrels. Haha. Squirrels have morphed into something twisted and bloodthirsty. They're always around in the fringe of the darkness, just waiting for an opportunity. They'll avoid large groups, but they'll probably single out individuals and try to munch on them. And then, of course, there's monsters. So we've got the quick rules. This is a dice pool system. It's going to use D6s. So it says, you might have one D6 or, a D6. Obviously, this system is very much taken influence from the dice pool system of World of Darkness type games. So you're going to have where you're rolling D6s and you're looking for successes on 5s and 6s for a target number. You've got horrible failures. There's some D66 rolls. It's written pretty well. Didn't notice any typos at all. I like the fonts that are used. And so you're going to make your character. You're going to spend stat points. You're going to spend skill points. You'll pick 2 abilities, and these abilities are something that are going to help you get through this new apocalyptic horror world. Okay, so you've got your stats here: strength, mind, chill, body, agility, and darkness. Obviously, it's a point-buy system. You've got some derived stats, hit points. You've got mind points and dark points. The resource for using certain dark abilities and adding extra dice to pools are going to be with dark points. You have a resist insanity check that you have to make. Of course, surprise, initiative, and rest. And a lot of the rest deals on the darkness level of the area. The target number is the current darkness level of the area. And if you fail, the nightmares plus the roaches are just too much for you to rest comfortably, and you receive no benefits from resting. Of course, there's rules here for critical wounded, some skills, abilities, starting items you can roll up, and there's some rules for insanity. Of course, character improvement are also included, and then you've got your skill check. So as you can see, this is going to be skill level plus stat is going to be your dice pool. You're chasing a target number of successes, trying to get those 5 and 6s. A lot of this is very basic, should be very easy for someone who knows it kind of a dice pool system to get into. 1 success is easy to normal skill checks, 2 successes is slightly difficult, and then of course you can have your your survivors that are along with you to help you, and how to do opposing skill checks for stuff such as fighting and blocking, fighting and dodging, guns and dodging. And then you've got your skill list, and they're based on the different attributes such as strength. You've got mind-based skills, chill-based skills, body-based, agility, and finally the darkness-based skill is sense darkness. And then of course you've got your explanation for those skills. So like be still, the skill to use when you are hiding from under a table from a monster and trying to control your rapid breathing. So that's obviously kind of a hide in darkness type of, or hide in shadows type of skill. All the basic stuff you kind of know here. There is post-dark survival. This skill can only be trained in once you have the dark survival ability bought with survival points after character creation. You've become accustomed to the dark, and you can get this skill post-dark survival. There's some resist poisons, sense darkness. You kind of know with the target number. It's kept secret, but you'll kind of ascertain exactly what's going on with the darkness level of the area that you're in. Of course, sneak, survival, tinkering with stuff. And then you've got these abilities. There's special talents and newly acquired supernatural dark powers characters have at their disposal. So some of these will have requirements, obviously, that you need to get. Starting characters pick 2 abilities at creation. So this is obviously where a lot of fun's going to come with your character. And then, of course, we've got the ability description. Now, some of them are going to be all of a sudden, maybe you're very, acrobatic. You know how to do some bedside manner. There's black binding. You can manipulate the dark, causing wispy, shadow-like tentacles to bind a target. There's black binding, or blacker binding. The requirement is you have to have black binding, and then you're even better at it. You get more dice to your pool. You have a dark gift. You can spin 1 dark point and receive an extra automatic success to any dice roll you just made. There's darkness survival. That's the thing that we were talking about there, about the post-dark survival skill. And then this dark strength, you have discovered the darkness within you manifest itself in in surges of strength when needed. So a lot of cool things here. Deadeye, toughness, heightened awareness, infused darkness, make a success on a fighting check with your hands to touch the target and inject the darkness itself into it, causing your darkness stat in damage. So some very cool stuff there. So a good bit here, and obviously going to help you be able to make a more unique character. Like vermin understanding, you possess a keen understanding of the twisted vermin. And then of course, right here, roach affinity. You have a special relationship with the roaches. You feel comforted by their crawling over your body as they feed you information about your surroundings in ways that you don't understand. And it's going to give you some benefits there. So then you've got, obviously gear. Light sources are going to play a big part, so they're obviously statted up, as well as some other tools, weapons, and then your descriptions, exotic and rare weapons, and then some insanity. You're going to roll D66, and pretty much what's going to happen is when your mind points reach 0, they roll another insanity on the table. Their mind points they go back to maximum. Lost magic mind points does not heal. A character must reach 0 and gain a new insanity before it gets restored back to the maximum level. So you go down, and then you get you roll on the insanity table, and then they go back up. And resist insanity checks. Target number is always 1 unless otherwise stated. So, such as like versus the monster terror level. And then you've got some things here. Some of these you can't roll up as a non-starting insanity, but they can be hallucinations. You can become maybe an alcoholic or paranoid, a pacifist. Maybe you hear voices. You get the giggles every once in a while. So a bunch of stuff that's going to kind of mess with your mind, as you can see. Then you've got combat, surprise checks, initiative, what stance you're in, defensive, normal, and aggressive, what actions you can do. So you got main actions and free actions. This should be fairly standard for a lot of players. So it should be a very easy game to get into, especially if you've played Ward of Darkness type games. You've got a little bit of a thing to let you to go through so that you understand exactly how melee attacks as well as range attacks work. Reach and reach weapons, risky maneuvers, grappling, which has always kind of been a bane a little bit from role-playing games, how to trip and disarm, different creature sizes, and then some of the game rules, lifting and carrying encumbrance, conditions that you might have, encumbered, bleeding, fatigued, damage and healing, patching yourself up, critical wound table. So I like that a lot. So I always like critical wound tables, always fun. And then you've got the conductor section. And this is going to help explain a little bit more what's going on in this rapidly changing world. There's a lot of mushrooms that have all of a sudden started growing all over the world very quickly, and they have grown so much that they have just started to destroy like concrete. So buildings are starting to crumble and fall away, and you'll hear those kind of in the distance. Another building has collapsed because these mushrooms have just devastated the concrete and the supports of the building. So it explains here, day 1, day 2, what happened, such as food that isn't encased in metal has been completely consumed by roaches. And then day 5, you can hear those buildings collapsing. It just took 5 days. And then forests are now completely thick, massive mushrooms, and leading you down narrow weaving passages. And it explains here how the world changed, the climate. The temperature it hovers at about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. There's no wind, so there's just this. Your sweat doesn't cool you off. You feel icky, damp, and just kind of nasty. It no longer rains, and after a while, the lakes will just dry up. So, I mean, this is truly a brutal world that, has come to be. And here they talk about if you need to take your character off and walk it off permanently so that you might make a new character. Here's some rules about large groups. The darkness level is going to be obviously important for the different areas and which creatures spawn depending on the darkness level. Rules for skill checks, time, food, and water, which is obviously going to be a big deal. How to do with half rations. I really like this right here to stave off the starving condition if you put yourself at half rations, and then spawns for those monsters. There's a 50% rule here. If something would happen or not, you can roll 50%. I have this a lot in my games. Is there an item here on a 1, 2, or 3? It isn't. On a 4, 5, or 6, there is. And that's very helpful for a quick roll that you need to find something if you're running this game. A random item table here. Falling, guns and ammo, firing, and then you've got some creatures. So you've got the vermin. Some of this art's a little bit dark to see, but that's obviously the way it goes. You've got vermin, monsters, guardian, and dominator. And they all go up in difficulty and nastiness. So vermin are going to be obviously anything that's kind of small, they don't have supernatural powers or anything like that, but they obviously have something has changed with them. And the darkness has twisted like these squirrels into vicious animals now trying to eat your flesh. And so they get the stats there for those. Some of them will have a couple of like special abilities like Scurry Strike, and that's pretty cool. You've got Lurks. This is going to be kind of like your basic enemy here that you're going to probably face a lot of. That'll be wandering down the streets. Obviously, a lot of this reminds me of Silent Hill a lot, as they take on various forms. You've got the Widow. It's a spider-like monster with a vaguely human face on its head. She's going to nest in stuff like basements and attics, cluttered rooms, and set up a web trap, obviously try to kill you. And she's got a poisonous bite, so that's neat. And then you got the Blade Dragger. Obviously, this is very much, in my opinion, inspired by Pyramid Head. I think that's his name from Silent Hill. He's going to drag this big blade that's behind him. It's made out of like strange, maybe organs or bones or something that he drags behind. So it's obviously going to give a good creepy mood. You've got Giggles, who's going to pop out from behind like closets and stuff. He's going to try to eat your face. You've got the Grave Digger. There's subterranean spin-offs of Lurks. You've got the Street Beast, which are huge kind of bulldog monstrosities with their head. It is completely gone, but their mouths are in their underbelly. So they're going to try to chomp on you, jump on you, knock you down, and eat you. You've got the Wall Creep. He's going to be, he's kind of insect-like, and they climb on surfaces very easy. I guess that's Blotto is an 18-foot tall mound of roaches with 2 white glowing eyes. So this is obviously going to be a very brutal monstrosity. It's got a terror level of 7. It's a dominator. And this is going to be a very nasty creature to fight. As it's so big, and because of its shape, it can't suffer critical wounds. So then you've got some NPCs. So there's a little bit of art. What their reoccurring nightmare is, because everybody's got nightmares in this now new apocalyptic world. And then I like that there's a very good write-up about their backstory and names for male and female. And so, yeah, you've got a couple there telling you a little bit about the first encounter. And then hopefully this here, The Dark, 1 week later, will be coming out and it'll add to this game. Here's your character sheet right there. And then there's a time record sheet, because you obviously don't have any way to tell the passage of time unless you've probably got a wind-up watch. So every 4 hours is going to be a time period, and you'll need to keep track of that, as well as food and stuff like that. So we're going to truck all the way back up to see the cover. What do I think of it? I think it's really cool. I think it's a neat setting. I think it's a real gloomy setting, obviously. I mean, with the name The Dark and what's going on in it, yeah, it's pretty tough. And so what does this game have going for it? Obviously, it's got the setting. I think that's very imaginative. It's obviously very much inspired by the things that it says were an inspiration. I can see all those things in it. And it's just a game where you've got a familiar rule set. You've got, you know, if you like dice pools, you can mess with this with D6s. That's going to be easy. But you're going to be trying to always survive. So it's all about survival. There could be some gangs, some storytelling that's going on in that direction with NPCs and people trying to now take over whatever powers out there. So it's a role-playing book that gives you a good, meaty rule set, a really cool, creepy world where I could completely understand if you wanted to walk away and just meet your fate. But what this needs, and I've actually told Zero Theory this, I look forward to just giving more about this setting. This has got the opportunity to really be fleshed out much more with factions, maybe some sort of goals that could be a direction for the players to go in, and just kind of giving the feel of what the setting is. Since it's so unique in a role-playing game sense, and it's so bleak, really ramping that up and doing something with the world and the setting that is even more gloomy, but there's got to be some sort of hope, some sort of direction when either it comes to looking for a place for sanctuary, maybe taking over, maybe finding out what's going on, maybe stopping this if there is a way to stop it, or reverse stuff. That's what the future, I would hope, the future angle for this game is. So overall, for a pay-what-you-want game, I think it's a really good pickup. Anybody should pick up if they'd like to have kind of a a horror survival game. They like a lot of tracking of stuff when it comes to food, finding stuff. Almost, I mean, we say post-apocalyptic, but that's kind of the genre that we know that does a lot of that. So, having to survive, having a character that's got these nightmares, being able to role play that, and hopefully finding some sort of madness in this new dark world. So there it is, The Dark. Highly suggest you pick it up. Like I said, it is pay what you want. And it's been a fun read. So take a look at it yourself, see what you think, and let me know. So as always, thank you for subscribing. Share this video, like it, all that stuff. It's going to just help grow the channel bigger. And I appreciate everybody that has joined the channel and watched my videos. So thanks a lot.